What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, wrapping up the week, man. April 23rd, a Friday. My mic can't stay in place, but we're here to end the week off on a good note, man. We got some HBCU football content, man. We're finally gonna adjust the Justin Fields dilemma, as I've called it, because there's some takes around the country that they don't really sit well with me, I would say. But let's kick it off here, man. We got Dawson Odums, who just got hired by Norfolk State after he leaves Southern University. He was dominant at Southern, to say the least, Brandon. I mean, this guy was 58-31. He won four SWAC West division titles, and he was 1-3 in the SWAC championship game. And he built Southern into the power that they were. He had a dominant win this year over Jackson State. Him and Deion had a little bit of back and forth. And today at his intro press conference, Brandon, he had some interesting comments that I want to play for everybody here. And then we're going to address them and see what we think of these.
You have to understand how great the God I serve is. It's been a remarkable journey, but I'm excited and enthusiastic about the next opportunity. I want to say thank you, Dr. Adams Gaston, because when you want to be a football coach, you want to coach somewhere where the leader is passionate about the young men and women that they serve. And she's passionate about the growth of Norfolk State University. To Miss Webb, I don't know if you really know what this means. What's going on in HBCU and the hiring process. I really believe by me coming to Norfolk State University, it's giving hope to those guys that pay their dues. They do it the right way. You didn't go with the fad. You didn't go with what's going on in society. I'm grateful that you gave a guy a chance from his proven track record. And I say to those coaches that in HBCU, don't give up hope. There's plenty of ADs out there with that same vision as Miss Webb. Keep working hard, keep being a building young man, and you too will get your chance. Board of Visitors.
So interesting comments there, Brandon. We know what the trend is. Eddie George recently hired at Tennessee State. Deion Sanders recently, of course, hired at Jackson State, and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed have both expressed interest in HBCU jobs. We had a comment on one of our videos earlier this week from an awesome subscriber, and I told him that it'd be interesting if Ed Reed really got a shot at this Southern job. And I think it'd be a really, really good fit for you, though. What do you think about what he said? I mean, for you, is it a trend that necessarily needs to stop, or is it even like a trend at this point?
See, that's what I was going to say. I don't think it's a trend. I mean, this is two schools, Zach, and then a couple other guys who expressed interest. I don't know if I'd call that a trend. Eddie George happened less than 2 weeks ago. I don't understand his comments about the trends. And I don't necessarily understand the backlash against if this even becomes a trend. I don't understand the backlash. I guess that you're almost making this a harder job to get than it historically has been. People are getting the jobs in a different way. But how is that a bad thing? How is it a bad thing that HBCUs are getting, these high-profile coaches, these coaches who used to play in the NFL, coach in the NFL, in Tennessee State's case, coaching the NFL, that's insane that you have Jeff Fisher as like an advisor on your team. But man, I don't see this in a negative light at all. And obviously, I speak to this in a perspective where I don't know if I can truly speak on what should and shouldn't happen at HBCUs. But just from my vantage point, I don't see the issue. If you want to go out and hire these high-profile coaches that are going to attract these high-level recruits, I don't get it.
Yeah, and so for me, so let me say this, like from my perspective, I get what he's saying. The
Yeah.
people who have went through the coaching ranks, the normal coaching development, I get it. They do deserve their shot. But I don't. So the thing that makes it kind of iffy for me is, are there really qualified coaches, like coaches who win, that aren't getting hired or are getting replaced by coaches with no coaching experience? Or is it the coaches that aren't succeeding at programs that need a boost that are, making these hires? Tennessee State hiring a local hero to kind of generate interest. He brings in Hugh Jackson. He brings in Jeff Fisher. Deion is already opening up so many sponsorship opportunities, NIL opportunities when that comes along. For me, it's a more so yes, the coaching thing could be debated, especially with Eddie George. I get that. I think that's like, I feel like his shot was more taken there than maybe a Deion, because Deion was coaching high level high school football in the state of Texas and had one of the top teams in the country that was playing on ESPNU. ESPN is a high school team. For me, though, I feel like the opportunities that can come about by hiring, or going with this trend of hiring the former player or whatever, it's fair. I mean, it's not like they're jumping the line or anything like that, or at least that's not how I perceive it. I get, though, I'm coming from a perspective where I'm not somebody. So, we look at our careers, Brandon, like, you get a job at this company when you get out of college and everything. Would you be upset if there was someone who got the same job you had, no college degree, just because they had like this alternative experience?
Okay, now that you put it like that, yes, actually, I would be. Okay, you're kind of opening my mind up now, and I kind of understand where he's coming from. So, yeah, that would be kind of a tough situation for me.
So I get his frustration, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be I don't like I agree with you where it doesn't. I don't think it's going to become a trend. Like, I don't think at every single HBCU school around the country, their only option is to hire a former NFL player. I don't think that's the case. I think there's still plenty.
It's happened at two. It's happened at two schools in the SWAC. That's it. And it just barely happened at two schools. It happened really at one school up until, like I said, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Tennessee State is in the OVC, I believe.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like at HBCUs, there's only been two schools that done it, and let's not. I mean, there's Power 5 programs that have former players coaching. Man, like, can we just like hold off on like this narrative that so there are good coaches like Connell Maynard. We've talked about him so many times on this podcast about how great of a coach he is. He's not getting replaced by an NFL player just because that player, that dude played NFL football at a time. If you win, you keep your job. If you win, you get promoted. Like, I think that's kind of just what's going to stay happening. I get his sentiment, but I don't think Eddie George or Deion Sanders took anyone's job who got kind of screwed out of the interview process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's what I guess my main point here is that Dawson Odums isn't going anywhere. He had his dominant tear at Southern, obviously here in Baton Rouge, by the way, big Southern guy. And then, now he's at Norfolk State. He's not going anywhere. This isn't affecting him, I don't think. So I don't understand why he's so worked up that he had to make a comment about it. I don't want to be called out like I guess some other YouTubers get called out, so I'll stop there.
Yeah, and Deion was very nice about it. He said it was a huge loss for the SWAC to lose a coach like Coach Odums. But I feel like this. So I personally, just me, guys, let us know in the comments what y'all think. I personally don't even think it was a shot at Deion, because Deion did have some coaching experience. I think this was more of a shot at Eddie George at Tennessee State with no coaching background. And like I said, when we talked about Eddie George being hired, I get it. But I feel like we should just hang off there and wait and see how it is. I don't think it's going to become a trend per se, as Coach Odums likes to say. But guys, let me know what y'all think of Coach Odums being hired at Norfolk State. I think it's a great hire. That program's really good. I think they got a really good coach who's going to bring in bring a lot of success to them. We're going to keep y'all updated on this, because I'm sure, I would almost guarantee there's going to be a response coming from somewhere. So we'll keep y'all updated on the situation. But let's get back to some Power 5 football here. We got the Justin Fields dilemma. That's what I'm naming this segment. Brandon, where should I even start about this? Okay, so just to be clear, I don't want to be hypocrites here. Brandon nor myself had Justin Fields as the number one quarterback in the class. We didn't even have him at 2 at the time. I've moved him up recently to 2 just because watched the pro days and go
I
ahead.
would like to say that I did have him at 2. I've had him at 2 this whole time.
Oh, that's right. You did that. Okay, my bad. I thought he did it. Not bad. But yeah, so Brandon did. I've moved him up to 2 when I did my re-rank because it was like 2A and 2B with him and Zach Wilson. But man, the slander of Justin Fields has been just epic proportions, man. One, his health's been questioned. Don't know how, but it has. And most recently today, which kind of inspired this segment, is now it's reported he has epilepsy, and some teams have had concerns about that. Well, then he also got his toughness question. Kind of odd that he played with broken ribs in the national title. Then his work ethic was questioned. First of all, which never has come out, but they said he was a last guy in, first guy out type of guy was the exact quote that I'm blanking on the guy's name for ESPN that said it on Pat McAfee's show. Orlovsky. Dan Orlovsky said it on Pat McAfee's show. It said an anonymous scout said that. Kind of odd since, the scout was probably not at either Ohio State and Georgia. But these 3 things have all been said about Justin Fields. Ryan Day released a tweet today that said, quote, Justin's health, toughness, and work ethic have never been an issue. I'm incredibly proud of his professionalism and the character he displays on and off the field. And I love this point here, Ryan. I'm on your side. I'm not a huge Ohio State guy, but I'm on this side. The fact that he never missed a game at Ohio State speaks volumes about how he takes care of himself. So in terms of the report about epilepsy, he's been on medicine since he was a child. It's never affected his football career through middle school, high school, or college. And they learned about this in the pre-draft thing. And the kind of speculation is he wanted to head it off because he's already been getting criticized so much in terms of this pre-draft process. Brandon, for you though, why has Fields seemed to become public enemy number 1 in terms of this NFL draft process?
Well, so I've heard things like, oh, he's only played 1 full season because, in a way, I guess he only had his full season at Ohio State the year before this one. I guess they don't count. I mean, I know yesterday I mentioned that I didn't count last season as a full season, so I understand. But that doesn't make me question Justin Fields. If you've watched a second of his game film, or, I mean, even if you just sat down and watched the game, dude, like, the kid's incredible. I mean, he is extremely talented. I don't know how you can question his toughness. I don't really understand. I think what happens around draft time, and we've brought this up on the show before, we get a lot of NFL guys who come down and look at recruiting for a month or 2 months right before the draft, and they make their decisions about guys like that. They don't watch them in college. They don't watch them. I mean, you and I, since we started the show, we've seen every single game that Justin Fields has played in. And so we know how special of a talent he is. But these guys who have to go back and watch game film and have to go back and see, oh, well, they dig up everything you can. I mean, good Lord, they're making a storyline out of anything they can right now. Go back to the Trevor Lawrence segment we had a couple days ago, how he might not should be the number 1 overall pick because he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, whatever that means. Zach, I don't think there's anything to worry about with Justin Fields. I do believe his draft stock is sinking a decent bit, but that's unfortunate for him and his signing bonus, I guess. But it's very fortunate for whatever team ends up snatching him up, especially if they can get him in the teens in this draft, man.
1,000%. I mean, guys, over the past 2 years at Ohio State, Fields has 63 passing touchdowns, only 9 turnovers, Brandon, in 22 games. Had almost. What's up?
You know what's crazy is that his full season, his quote unquote full season. How many interceptions did he have, Zach?
3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like all that came last year. Look at that one season. Look at the one season. I mean, that's what you're doing with Zach Wilson. You're looking at this past year and you're ranking him. Some people are ranking him above Trevor Lawrence. It's ridiculous.
I mean, so the thing that gets me is this. So, yes, he sometimes gets locked on his first read, but I don't think it happens as often as people are saying. For a guy who gets locked on a read, he throws very little interceptions. His decision, that first read must be open. I mean, It's like he rushed for almost 1,000 yards too, Brandon. 15 rushing touchdowns. He ran like a 4.4. We see where the NFL's going. You want an athletic guy. You want someone who takes care of the ball. You want a quick decision maker, a guy, just a leader of a team. And I never felt like Justin Fields wasn't a leader at Ohio State. And my thing is, the competition isn't there for Zach Wilson. We've seen Justin Fields perform in both playoff games he's in. He played with a broken rib against an overmatched Alabama team. He's won the Big Ten title every year. What do you want from him? What more could he have done in college? And Brandon, here's the thing. Here's what gets me. So me and you have been covering college football on this podcast. We're going into our third season. So we've covered both the Justin Fields seasons at Ohio State. When in the world has he not been the second best quarterback in college football behind Trevor Lawrence?
He always has been since the second he stepped on the field, Zach.
Right. Okay, I just want to say this. Okay, just hear me out real quick. How likely is it that everything, my theory on this, Brandon, is everything that leaks for a reason. There's a reason that the epilepsy thing leaked. There's a reason his work ethics leaked. Big announcements that you don't want to have leaked never leak for some reason. It's always the stuff that you don't mind leaking out that gets leaked. I really think, Brandon, I'll put it on everything on this podcast. I think there's an NFL team who wants him to fall that is releasing all this info.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it, I guess. I didn't even think about that. But
I mean, I'm looking at the Patriots. I'm looking at the Broncos. I'm looking. Listen, it would not shock me at all, Brandon. So yes, Zach Wilson is a quote unquote consensus number 2 pick. There were still questions about whether they should take Fields or not. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers spread this, got all this information out to make sure he falls to 3, because they have to be extremely, extremely, extremely confident they're going to get their guy at 3 to give up what they gave up to get to 3.
That's true. And the more I've thought about it, I know that we had our draft 2.0 already come out a couple weeks ago. The more I think about it, the Mac Jones thing might be a smokescreen. That might just be trying to throw other teams off of their scent, maybe mess up their draft strategy. So I wouldn't be surprised at that at all.
Listen, guys, we've had multiple people on the podcast that cover Ohio State football. We've talked to all of them about Fields. There has never, and I mean never, been one negative thing said about this kid on this podcast to any of us behind the scenes, any of the sorts. Everything that I've been told about Justin Fields is that he is one of the best kids, and that he can step into any locker room and he is going to be a hit with the teammates. He's going to work hard. You don't just transfer from Georgia, walk into that Ohio State quarterback room and get handed the job. You got to go earn it. Ask Joe Burrow. You don't think Joe Burrow was good?
He was pretty good.
I mean, yeah, he's pretty damn good, and he wasn't even the starter. Look at the battle this year, man. Both of those quarterbacks are going to be elite talents, and one of them is going to have to sit on the bench, Brandon. So I don't want to hear that he was just handed the job anywhere. And we've been vocal on this podcast. Kirby Smart is going to go down as the worst quarterback decision coach of literal all time. Yeah. The fact that he picked Jake Fromm over Justin Fields, and now he picked Stinson Bennett and Jawan Mathis over JT Daniels. Jesus Christ, that's a bad decision, but that's a whole nother podcast. But I really just don't think any of this criticism is fair. I don't want to get into the whole, racial undertones surrounding the whole thing, because we try to, stay out of politics stay out of all that kind of controversial stuff as much as possible. We try to stick to sports here, but I think that could be into play too. There's just many question marks I have, Brandon, because we've covered college football for 3 years. Every single person in the media that covers college football has said these reports are just dumb and they're stupid and it doesn't make any sense. And I want to end off with this before we wrap this up. Any quote that I hear anonymous that is something like this, I already just go ahead and just take the venom out of it, because I know the reason they put it anonymously is because they knew that they are full of shit, just to be honest with you. I mean, Listen, this is a string of like 5 episodes in a row we've cursed on the podcast, or a guest has. So, why not? But listen, I really just don't get it, man. I side with Josh Pate on this. I know we've talked about this. If you're putting all your stock into just NFL people in the draft, you're going to be sorely mistaken. There's going to be a lot of busts. You need to listen to the college football guys, because I promise you, any college football guy knows these players better than a guy who went and watched 2 weeks of film, like Brandon said. And I bet money on it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you, Zach. I mean, if you know something to be a fact, you're proud of it, put your name by it. It just makes sense.
Anonymous quotes. I mean, unless like it's something where you have to, like the anonymous coaching thing they do, where like you got to break down other coaches and stuff. Okay, maybe I get it, because that could cause some problems. But man, if you're gonna say like a kid is the first in, is the last in, first out, and that he's a horrible human being, man, grow some balls and put your name behind it. I want to know who said it.
Yeah,
because I mean, come on, man. These scouts are just like the most like scared individuals, and as much as I love NFL draft season, Brandon, I absolutely hate it at the same time, because Justin Fields has been the second best quarterback in this class since he was a sophomore in high school, and now all of a sudden, he's not even a top 20 player.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And listen, if you watch any film, the film doesn't lie, guys. Justin Fields is better than Trey Lance and Mac Jones. At least we won't even go into the Zach Wilson argument. He is a top 3 quarterback in this class, and for me, Brandon, it's not even a debate.
I'm not here today anyway. I'm here usually to make hot takes, but today I would not be shocked if 3 years down the line we look back and go, how the hell was Justin Fields not the second quarterback taken this draft? I would not be shocked at all. Or if Mac Jones somehow gets taken above him, Mac Jones might be the next Mitch Trubisky if that happens. I don't know.
Listen, it might actually be good for Justin Fields. If he can fall to like the 49ers, or he goes to the Patriots, for say, or the Broncos, those are all better than New York to me. The Jets are a dumpster fire. So, you know what? This might actually work out for Justin Fields. But, guys, let us know what you think about Dawson Odums' take on the HBCU hiring trend. Let us know what you think about Justin Fields and all the criticism. Where does he rank as a prospect? Do you put any stock into any of this crazy criticism he's been getting? Let us know in the comments, man. We are up over 130 subscribers, guys, man. Y'all have been killing the YouTube stuff, man. We appreciate all the support. Make sure to go check out all the 2-minute drill episodes from this week. Catch up on our Big 12 in 30 days theme. What's up, B-Dub?
Let me say this. If we can somehow, some way hit 200 subscribers before the draft live stream next week, we'll go ahead and pick the next winners for the 200 raffle to release on that day. We won't make you guys wait any longer. We will not make you guys wait any longer. If we can hit 200, it's all bets are off. Everyone's entered. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So there you go. You guys got a goal. The draft is in like a week. So y'all got a week to get us to 200 subscribers. And we're going to pick another group of y'all to get the merch bundle. So that's 10 of y'all getting the merch bundle, man. I appreciate y'all so much. I know B-Dub does too. Like I said, thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. But guys, this is a wrap this week for the Blue Bloods and the 2-minute drill. But we'll be back Monday with some more content. The draft's next week. Next week, we're going to have like 15 episodes drop. It's going to be crazy. We're going to be so busy. Of course, we're doing our first round live stream live on Twitch, Periscope, Facebook, and this YouTube channel. So make sure to turn on your post notifications for that. Join us for the draft. We'll be interacting with y'all all night long. But guys, for myself, for B-Dub, the 2-minute drill, and the Blue Bloods, we are out.